Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to North Country Off Grid. Before we get into this video, where we are going to be talking about occupied territory in America and what's going on in Seattle, as well as what's going on around the country, I want to give you guys a heads up here probably this week. Lined up for next Tuesday, I think he said. We are going to be going on to a podcast, The Confessionals, with Tony Merkel. That is your host. He does a very cool show. If you're unfamiliar, go check it out. But he called to talk to me about what was taking place in his area. He's just outside of a big city versus us out in the country, basically, as well as the state of Idaho versus his state, right? In his state, he has to wear masks everywhere by law, by decree. Whereas we're still sitting pretty free here in Idaho, basically just ignoring our governor. We're also recalling our governor, which is fantastic, right? We don't like his nonsense, so we're going to recall him. That's a fantastic step for the American people to step up and understand. But we're going to be going on to that podcast. He wants to talk with me about what people in the big cities can do to basically prepare themselves or get ready. And you guys know, if you're preparing now, you are behind. But we're going to help them out and give them some advice. Because we're not talking about storing up beans and rice anymore. We are now changing the game up. Right now, it's more of like, hey, reactive. This is what you need to be ready to do. So that's coming up. Again, go check it out. The Confessionals with Tony Merkel. All right, guys, so here we are watching occupied territory in Seattle. And there's a lot of things that you need to look at. There's a lot of things that you need to understand. For one, don't get too heated about what's going on in Seattle. Seattle has made its own bed. Allow them to lie in it, for one. I think most people don't really even care what's taking place in Seattle. But you need to be watching at what's going on and what's taking place leading up to it. For one, Antifa was declared a terrorist organization. If that's true, that puts them up there with Al-Qaeda, that puts them up there with Taliban, that puts them up there with ISIS, right? So if that's true, and they've just taken over a bunch of land in the United States, what does that mean for the future? Two, arbitrarily calling groups terrorist organizations or classifying them as terrorist organizations is a very dangerous way of operating. I don't know that Antifa has actually even killed anybody, so to label them as a terrorist organization. Bigger picture going on here, guys, and this is something that I really want to warn you about, is the bigger picture of what is taking place. For one, the governor of Washington, when asked about the occupation of this area, chaz, apparently is what the media is calling it. It's possibly not what the people inside are calling it. Chaz is what we'll call it. But when asked about it in a press release or a press briefing, the governor, after 3 days of occupation, said that he had no clue what was taking place in Seattle. Right, the main hub that gets him elected, he's got no clue that up to 7 by 7 city blocks have essentially been taken over, radicalized, and dubbed no longer U.S. territory. And you're unaware of that for days? I don't think he was unaware of it, guys. And as you can see in his response to it, they are in support of what is taking place. The radical left, the left, is in support of what is taking place over there. They clearly are allowing it to take place, and now they're trying to dumb down the actions in the media and basically say, oh, it's just protesting. We got to respect their right to protest. But let's rewind to Burns, Oregon, right? When Ammon Bundy and the boys took over a bird's nest, a national refuge, right? They occupied a refuge. You know, they flew a bunch of FBI agents in to take care of that right away, right? The cool thing about that is that was We the People land. So all they were doing was visiting We the People land peacefully protesting, exercising their Second Amendment rights, and they got a full-scale FBI reaction. If you also remember, the left was calling pretty much for, their heads when this was taking place. The media was trying to skewer these guys, right? It wasn't about respecting someone's right to protest. And in the end, a man was murdered because of it, right? While these guys were going back and forth talking to the sheriff, a man was murdered by these bootlickers. So fast forward now to Chaz. No response taking place. No obvious reaction from the feds. Clearly Trump wants it taken care of, but I think he's going to let it develop and turn into a complete poop show. Because that's great right before the elections. If you can see the left tear itself apart right before the elections and people are like, whoa, is this what the left is about? I'm not voting for these people, right? So we're tied into a political game here, guys, because in any other time, you're not allowing people to take over America, an occupation of America, and just sitting back and watching it take place. So we got to watch the big picture issues here. Big picture, political games being played, no real response from any authority on an occupation of public land. In this case, publicly paid for land for the most part, right? They're using city streets. They took over a police department. Who knows what resources were inside that police department that they are now currently using. From what the media is showing, they now have a warlord. A guy who has decided to take over by force. Imagine that. You've got their leaders kind of falling apart and begging for food, so they're definitely logistical experts. But this thing is being funded. This thing is organized. These people are supported. This isn't just, we just happened to accidentally do this. And now the government, the left government, is supporting their actions. Actions that they would have condemned if these were patriots doing this kind of stuff, right? And you can see this because we are about to have our Liberate America rally, and the left is all spun up about us having this event at the Kootenai County Fairgrounds, public property, right? Exercising our First Amendment right to assemble and protest peacefully, as well as our Second Amendment right to make sure that all those other rights are respected. Very important point. But they are coming unhinged at the fact that we would have the audacity to get together during this pandemic, right? This crazy pandemic that has been unleashed on America. But not a peep when it comes to protesters in groups of thousands. Not a peep when it comes to an occupation of city blocks in America. Not a peep. Why is that? Well, that's because they don't care about rights and freedoms. They don't care about liberties, guys. In case you are sitting back and still wondering, you're currently at war. We are at war. We are fighting a war now that has not been fought. But you're at war. There's no big bomb going off. There's no battle lines where the left shows up and the right shows up and we shoot at each other. You are currently at war. The U.S. is at war. If you need me to declare it, I will. You're at war. We are under attack. Our system is being dismantled. Liberty, justice, those things are being undermined. And from the inside, we are infiltrated, and they are trying to take over the U.S. But they're trying to do it, off the battlefield. They're trying to do it in a way where they just change laws and rules and they outlaw freedom. So you're at war. So now what? Now what are you going to do? Sit back and wait for it to be at your door, right? I want to make a clear distinction really quick before jump off of this video, guys. And I want you people to understand the game that's being played. Other cities, mostly liberal left ran, are burning are being looted, are being destroyed with the blessing of the leftist people coming out and saying, just let them loot, it's fine, it can be replaced. Just let them destroy stuff, it's fine, we can rebuild. Don't go out and resist them, right? Then you get to Idaho, where it was, oh, hey, possible, hey, rumors, could be we're on the list because the city next door is burning. We could be on the list next. What do you guys want to do? Well, Idaho grabs its guns and comes and hangs out, right? Because we will resist. We will fight back. We will push back. We will meet you right at the threshold and make sure that you're not going to destroy our state. And I got a lot of people asking me, oh man, what do we do? What do we do? For one, you guys are behind because you gave up your Second Amendment rights. For two, you allowed social pressure to stop you from doing things like carrying a firearm every day. Whether you choose to open carry or conceal carry, you should have been carrying a firearm every day. You should be disbanding these permitting processes that allows you to carry your firearm, right? If they are allowing you to carry your firearm, that means that they have the ability to tell you you can't carry your firearm. And if someone tells you no to a right, you then exercise that right and you let them know by force that you'll go ahead and do it anyway. So the permitting process is asking for permission. You need to start there. For two, or three, I don't know what we're on. C? When politicians come into power and then they change the laws and the rules to grab that power from you and say, okay, you no longer can carry guns in this area. That is the time when you and the boys grab all of your guns and you go down to where you need to be to protest and display your firearms. And you make sure that they are well aware of the fact that you're not asking for permission. And unfortunately, many of you guys were asking for permission, and when you were told no, you gave them up. So that is what you see in these other states taking place, and that is what you don't see in the state of Idaho. And what you are going to continue to see in the state of Idaho is you are going to continue to see armed men exercising their Second Amendment rights. And as the rest of the U.S. crumbles and these states continue to grab control, you are seeing more and more people wishing they could move to Idaho. Guys, you can't just retreat to Idaho, okay? You need to take a stand in your area and push back. Otherwise, you're going to be full-fledged war, and you're going to find out that you have been disarmed in the process. And another very important fact is, one, do not pick up a gun to protest if you are going to allow someone to disarm you. It is all or nothing. You are defending your rights or you are handing them over, period. Idaho gets this.